Hello and welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports and a series of videos that I wish to start with today, episode 1, and that is the final countdown to Paris, Brest, Paris. Now, on Saturday, I had a San Diego randonneur gathering with some experienced folks who have done PvP on several occasions. And so information was shared about things to be aware of and things to plan for. So that is pretty much the impetus for this video for you folks. Now, on Sunday, I went out for a ride, about 3 hours, came back, and I just spent quite a bit of time on YouTube looking at other people's preparation for Paris, Brest, Paris. So maybe you'll hear something that you've heard on someone else's video. I apologize if I am not going to be able to remember which video, who said what, and to give them credit for that. But let's just do a broad disclaimer that I watched several videos and I should have made notes. Oh, that's a good point, and that person made it. So I apologize. I don't mean to steal your thoughts. Okay, so today's July 31st. So what I'm looking at now is there's 19 total days before the start of Paris, Brest, Paris. So it starts on the 20th, and 90 hours will elapse on the 24th of August. So if we reduce that down to just business working days, we're down to 13 business days. So I want everyone who is a very busy professional, because logic would follow that you would be able to afford a trip like this if you were a busy professional. It is expensive to travel somewhere and be displaced for at least 1 or 2 days prior to the event and at least 1 or 2 days after the event. So if you're a busy professional and you've got a lot of stuff going on, you're a parent, you got kids going here, going there, it is the middle of summer. Everyone is going to camps and doing all kinds of stuff. So as a parent, I also understand that you may be really busy. But I wish to share with you 2 things that I find glaring as a bike shop owner, and maybe it will make sense to you. This is number 1, book your bike in for service today. If you haven't done it yet, do not delay any longer. Book that service in today. You're going to need, depending on how well you maintain your bike, you're going to need a very, very thorough service on your bike. I will later go through everything that I recommend that you do to your bike. But suffice it to say, if you're running cables, get them replaced. If you're running Di2, make sure your electrical system is up to snuff. Maybe if you're running SRAM, you have extra batteries, right? Just all kinds of these little things that you want to make sure you have. So book that service today. Most bike shops are 2-3 weeks or more getting bikes in and out through service. It is the height of summer. Everyone's got an event. Everyone's event is the most important event of their life. They got a century, they got a double century, they got a triathlon. So book that service today, because you've only got about 13 business days. Some bike shops work Saturdays and Sundays, but then they close on a Monday or a Tuesday, right? So as far as business days, I'm not that far off. 13, maybe 15 business days. So you want to get your bike serviced, and you want to get it back in time to ride it. Make sure the service went well. Take it back to the bike shop if something needs adjusting. Then pack the bike, right? So this 13 days is a period of time where you really need to get all this stuff done so that you are stress-free. Your bike is serviced, all the parts got replaced. You know, if it takes a week or 2 to get parts, most of my distributors are 1-day ground, but sometimes I got to get something from the warehouse across the country. So it takes 3, 4, 5 business days. So book that service, enough time to get the bike back, ride it, make sure everything is working properly, pack it. Okay, so that's number one. The second thing, I'll probably bounce back up to one, but the second thing is your gear choices. So one of the things that came out of that meeting is nobody else is using aero bars. Now, I used aero bars. I can't remember if I did it on the 400, but I used them on the 600. And I was in that position a few times. But, you know, even though our 600 had 15,000 feet of climbing, there were long stretches of flat road. So it was hugely beneficial to be in the aero position. From the feedback I got from 3 of the folks that were there that have done the event before, they said, it's just constant rolling terrain, up, down, up, down, up, down. So there's no long flats where you would get into an aero position and benefit from it. And plus the quantity of people and everything else. So I decided to go against the aero bars. So now I have to switch up my bag strategy. So I had a bag that went right on the 2 aero bar extensions, and that had a carrying capacity that I now need to replace that somewhere else. So pay attention to your bags, order those bags, and then of course mount them all to your bike. You've got plenty of time now that if something is not right, it doesn't fit, you mount the bag and then you don't have enough space for your taillight to show, or you need to get a different taillight because you need to mount your taillights to your seat stays instead of your seat post, or whatever the circumstances may be. You need to mount everything on your bike. And even if you just stuff, packing paper in there, just mount everything to the bike, take a look and see what it looks like, and make sure everything is going to be secure on there. Bounce the bike. I have a patented rev bounce test. My suite is on the 2nd floor. I bounce bikes down the stairs and I listen for rattles and I listen for things that are loose. And by the time I get downstairs, I evaluate, and there's always something I find that could be a lock ring to a valve stem. So battery packs. I've got several sizes of battery packs. So at 20,000, I've got a 10,000, I've got a 6,000. This one's even thinner than an iPhone. So I'm still trying to decide, okay, I put this one with me and this one in the drop bag, foreshadowing. And, where am I going to have my power sources, right? So think about that. Think about your lights, think about your phone, your cycling computer, whatever you decide to use, that you have enough power to get through that event on your own. From what I understand, it's going to be impossible to find an outlet to plug into, right? So you have to be self-contained with your power. Now, years ago, this was never a concern. Everyone just rode like a cat eye with a 2032 battery, and that was it. But now everyone's got all these fancy GPS gadgets and they're battery hogs, right? Especially at night. If you're riding throughout the night, it drains your battery a lot because your screen is lit up. Okay, so bags, battery packs, this is all under the category of gear. And the last one for today's video is drop bags. Some folks are going with, some folks are going without. If you're the with camp, choose your bag, start stuffing it with everything you think you're going to need, and does it fit? I mean, it sounds obvious, but maybe some folks haven't thought about this. Oh, I'm going to take this, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take this. They've either been making a mental note, or they've done a written note, or maybe they have something on their phone. But you got to put it in the pack. Make sure that bag fits all the things you need. And if it doesn't, get a different bag or reduce the amount of stuff. So one of the gentlemen that was at the meeting on Saturday said he was not going to use drop bags. Last year he used it. He thought it was a huge, huge time suck to go to the drop bag section, find the bag, do the stuff he needs to do, and then put the bag back, and so on and so forth. There is a club, I think it's the Davis Bicycle Club. So they're English-speaking California natives, or They're from California, and they will be providing a bag drop service. So we're going to use an air tag to find our bag in a mountain of bags. But I think I'm taking a rainbow colored bag. I'm guessing most people would take a black bag or something like that. So I want something that stands out. And we'll talk more about the contents of that bag. But the drop bag is at Ludiac, as I understand it. So that's 400 kilometers into the event. That's 250 miles. You make a U-turn, you come back. It's at 800 kilometers into the event, give or take. So that's 500 or so miles. So 250, 500. And then you've got 250 to finish, right? 250 miles to finish. So you've got 250 without your drop bag. U-turn, come back to your drop bag, another 250. And then you got 250 to the finish, right? So in the first third and the second third of the event, you got access to your drop bag. So start planning. Do I want nutrition in there? How many bibs? Or, just start planning all that out. And that is just 2 items for today. I hope to do every other day a video on this stuff. This is what I'm going through, so I want to take you along in this journey. This is a brand new event for me. I've never done Paris, Brest, Paris. I'm learning as I go. I hope that I don't make too many mistakes, but when I do, you benefit from the mistakes I've made. When I've coached people in the past, they're like, oh, well, what license do you have, and what accreditation do you have, and what coaching this level or that with the USAC? And I'm like, I've made a lot of mistakes. That's my qualification for being able to train you. So anyway, I was a certified coach for years, but I let that lapse because I saw it as a money grab. They kept wanting you to go to these continuing education classes in states far away, and it just became too much. So I let that lapse, and hardly anyone asks me now for my coaching license certification. Okay, that's all for today. If you find this topic interesting, I know it's a narrow niche. There's not going to be, there's only about 8,000 people going to PBP, so this isn't a broad spectrum type of video, but maybe your interest in the challenges that we go through will keep you coming back. So please drop a comment down below. 1, are you going to PBP? 2, did you find this video useful? And if you have any things to share, please do so as well. Please like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. We'll see you up the road.